Hello, wonderful tea people. This is Matt with Mountain Stream Teas, and today I'm on location in Wuhe, Hualien. So this is the area that does a lot of the honey fragrance teas that we have on the site. Now, where I am right now, I am standing in the future of tea gardens in Taiwan. Now, not all tea gardens are going to be like this, obviously. The high mountain tea gardens are going to be different. I'll get into that in a second. But when you're looking at most of the tea gardens in Taiwan, well, what I'm standing in right now is kind of the future of tea processing in Taiwan. What we're looking at here is a high density tea garden. Now, tea gardens like this have been producing tea in places like Japan and other areas of the world for a very, very long time, but they're actually pretty rare in Taiwan. But there's more and more being planted. And the reason that is, it's very, very simple: labor and costs of labor. So right now in Taiwan, traditionally there would be an older generation, a generation of local Taiwanese farm workers that would go through and hand pick a lot of the teas. That population is, well, they're retiring. They're getting older. They're called the tea picking aunties. In Chinese, you call them the ais. And especially in an area like this is a very small town, a very rural area. They cannot support, say, for example, a migrant labor population. It's just too small. And so these older generations, these older folks that have been picking the teas for many, many, many years, they're not being replaced. The younger people are leaving, are going to the cities. They don't want a manual labor job of picking tea in tea fields. By no means is that unique to Taiwan. But Taiwan, like it usually does, is coming up with a fix to that problem that's technology based. So in a minute, I'm going to show you sort of what these tea plants look like and how they're different than the normal tea gardens. But basically, what's going to be happening is this garden that I'm a part of right now, that I am helping develop, that in 3 years or so, we're going to be able to produce some really good tea from this area. The tea plants are planted very, very close side by side. And there is a very specific machine, of course, developed in Japan, who've been dealing with these population pressures for a lot longer than Taiwan has. And these machines are going to be able to come over. It's going to be sort of like if you can sort of imagine a very tall, skinny platform on top, and they're going to be able to come through and pick the tops out of all of these tea leaves. And they're actually going to be able to layer them. So the first pick will be very, very high quality, the second layer not so much, and then they'll actually be able to do a third pick. And so a garden that you can see behind me, something as big as this, would take tea pickers, maybe, well, I'll say 10 tea pickers, maybe 2 to 3 days to really go over. With that machine, you could probably do it in half a day. But let's take a look at the actual tea plants and how they're planted. So here is the tea garden. Now, as you can see, this tea garden is only about a year old. These are not very, very old tea plants. But take a look at the density and the wide rows. So these wide rows right here are meant to have this machine go over top of the tea plants. And look at the density of these tea plants. So here, these are big leaf oolong variety, which is a variety that's very, very good for the honey fragrance black teas. And again, these teas are about a year old. But take a look at the density of these plants. They are spaced very, very, very close together, much closer than you would get with a normal tea garden. A normal tea garden would be about half the density of these tea plants. But this is, like I said, twice the density. Now, this area, you can see there's out in the distance, there's a highway over here, and this garden sort of ends right here. But we are going to be turning this into an organic garden and hopefully we'll be able to get it certified as well in the next couple of years. But we haven't started that process yet, just in case we do have to use agrochemicals for the if there's an emergency with young plants, we might have to use agrochemicals. So we're not going through the certification process yet, but there has been very, very, very few agrochemicals used on these tea plants. But you can see here, look at the spacing of these tea plants, right? You've got one right here, the other one right here. So just like this. So when these grow up, they're going to be growing up and they're going to make sort of like a mushroom shape, sort of right like this. And that mushroom shape is going to be where the machine can go over top of these tea gardens, of these tea plants in this tea garden, and really cut down a lot of the labor costs of these teas. So there you have it. This garden is the future for Taiwanese tea gardens. Now, there's still always going to be hand-picked teas. So you can still come through in this garden and still hand-pick it before the machine comes through and picks it more. But as the technology improves, there really is going to be a lot more machine-picked tea. Basically from necessity. There's just not going to be as many people to be able to come out here and do that labor-intensive job of picking teas. If you have any more questions about this, let me know. I will be here in this garden as the years progress. There will be lots of videos taken in this garden as we get this project up and running. We can be reached Facebook, Instagram, email on the website. If you like these videos, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always buy some tea on the website. That helps us keep these coming. Thanks for watching, and see you next video.